Yeah, I'm not going to wait till 222. I wasn't quite ready at 111. Almost, but not quite. Anyway, the title for today is Trust the Experts at Your Own Risk. How do you believe experts become experts in the eyes of the world? Could it be that they become experts because they understand how the system works? Could it also be that they know how the system works because they helped design it that way? And what has their expertise brought us? A financial system that enslaves humanity? A medical establishment that makes us ill and dependent on drugs that ultimately kill us? A legal system that violates human rights and doesn't even follow its own rules? A business plan that enriches a small minority at the expense of the majority? An education system that teaches people how to be content slaves? As I see it, you can keep your so-called experts. They are the problem, not the solution. Together, humanity is going through a process of learning how to create a world that works. There are no experts in this process because it's never been done before. If you want to maintain the status quo, look to the experts. If you want to be empowered, look to the visionaries. And I realized as I reread that a few minutes ago that I left out religion and spirituality. They've also taught us how to be disempowered, not enriched, following old maxims and old rules. They've not set humanity free. In fact, they've been part of the matrix as well that has produced the world that we see. How does it look to you? I mean, are you one of those people who bought into the religion of not paying attention to what's wrong, not looking at what the problem is, saying it's just an illusion and it doesn't matter? Are you one of those people that's been disempowered by calling everything not real and saying that's not me, that's not me, that's not me? Are you one of the ones that lives in denial and avoidance, which is pure ignorance, by the way? You're ignoring the reality of your humanity, the reality of the world in which you live and move and have your being, whether you like it or not. I didn't know I was going to start there, because each of the things that I named is an indication that the experts don't know a damn thing. In fact, they're psychopathic. They're really the insane pretending to be the experts. Look at the world. Look at it honestly. Look at it objectively. Look at it subjectively. Look at it as it is, as you experience it, as your neighbors experience it, as part of the collective conscious. Look at the world that we live in. We have people getting rich by creating war. We have people fighting terrorism who are themselves the terrorists, who indeed create terrorism and finance it on both sides. Indeed, we have a medical establishment that creates pharmaceutical drugs that have side effects built in, side effects that require other drugs and other drugs and other drugs that ultimately kill you. An education system that dumbs you down so that you don't have the ability to be an objective thinker, a critical thinker. Instead, you just swallow the information given, and you consider that intelligence? Maybe you've been tricked by the experts. And you have a business plan. Look at the business plan called corporations, in which the owners of the corporations take no personal responsibility for anything that their company does. Nothing. Look at government. Government has been taken over by swindlers, by charlatans, by people whose only interest is in getting reelected and maintaining power and control over more and more people. You have police departments that are trained in terrorism, not in protecting people's rights, not in honoring the golden rule or even their own rules, which is exactly what the legal system does. The legal system, if they followed their own rules, would be pretty fair, pretty decent. The thing is, they don't. They've made rules that supposedly allow them not to keep the rules that they don't like. You know, the ones that protect human rights, the ones that give each of us a chance to have justice and experience justice in an impartial court. There's no such thing in our world as an impartial court because of the experts in law, which are not experts at all. They are engaging in extortion. They are racketeering. They are committing fraud every day of the week, colluding and conspiring against people who are suffering real loss, and they themselves never suffer any loss because they've set it up that way. The banks, the financial institutions, they can't lose because they've set it up that way. They lose, or I should say they win when everybody else loses, and they win when a few people manage to win with them. But they never lose because it's set up that way. These are the experts that know how to hang on to their illusion of power and know how to manipulate the system so that it works for their benefit, no matter how many people it hurts, no matter how much harm is done, no matter what it does to Mother Earth. Oh yeah. Look at the world that we've created. It's been created by the experts that are arrogant and think they know it all, the experts that are unwilling to be creative because they don't have a creative bone in their body, because they only steal from those that are creative, and they drain the energy and they harvest that energy for their own benefit at the expense of those who are actually doing the work, actually creating. What kind of a world do you want? I mean, if you're going to keep trusting the experts, you're going to get the world that we've always gotten. Because the experts are stupid. Not just stupid, insane. Not just insane, but sociopathic and psychopathic. They want to destroy, not heal, not build up, not edify. They don't have your best intention at heart. They never have. They have their own interests at heart. They always have. That's why the world is the way it is. Now we can also, if we choose, trust the visionaries. Now what are visionaries? Visionaries are people who see bits and pieces of what is possible. None of the visionaries have all the answers. How could they? It's being unfolded to them through a process of living on this planet, where the things that are happening, they take that in and they see the problem, and with every problem, a solution presents itself. And visionaries realize that. So they look at the problem, they admit the problem, and then they allow the answers to come in. But they don't come in all at once. They don't come in with a ready-made system. You have to trust the process. You have to trust the evolution of the thing. You have to allow for the thing to expand into greater and greater manifestation. It's a difficult process. It's not easy. But who would you rather trust? The people that have created the world that is so dysfunctional? Or people that see a vision of how the world could possibly become better for everybody? Actually sustainable, with sustainable agriculture, sustainable medicine, using food as medicine, in fact. Sustainable, because it has business practices that honor life, because it has a legal system that honors truth and honors basic principles of law, especially cosmic law: do no harm, do not violate the free will of another, do not cause loss. Okay, we have the answers. We have the essence and the core answers that we need for a world that works. But as long as we keep trusting the experts and not going to the visionaries, we're not going to get it. We're simply not going to get where we want to go, or where we say we want to go. Do we really want to go there? It's going to mean that the old system has to collapse. It's going to mean that the old system has to be exposed for the weaknesses that were inherent and built right in to the ideology of those that created it. An ideology of greed, of lust for power, as I've said and keep saying. You follow that ideology, you do it at your own risk. And folks, I honestly and sincerely believe that we don't have a lot of time to get this right. We don't have a lot of time, and by getting it right, the first step in getting it right is to get rid of the experts. Put them in a quarantine area somewhere. I don't mean kill them. Quarantine them, get them arrested, and allow people who have a vision to learn how to communicate with each other and work together cooperatively to create things that work, to create systems that are viable and vibrant and protecting of life and protecting of rights. Folks, I, for one, do not consent to the way the world is. I do not consent to any part of it, because it's all fiction, it's all fraud, it's all somebody else's made-up story of how they can be the boss. Well, I, for one, don't want a boss. I want to be responsible for my own actions, my own words, my own deeds, my own life. That's why I shun the medical profession when I'm not feeling well. And by the way, I finally broke down last night and followed the advice that many had been given me in sleeping with my feet elevated. Now, for those of you that remember, I elevated the headboard of my bed, even, I think, right around the time it started, or even maybe a little bit before it started, with all of these symptoms, because that was supposed to get the best circulation, but my feet continued not to respond. They continued to be swollen and even starting to discolor. But when I got up this morning, after I didn't really sleep, I haven't slept. I slept 3 or 4 times yesterday during the night and day. So I did get sleep here and there, a couple hours here, a few hours there throughout the day. But in the afternoon, I started sleeping with my feet up. And this morning when I got up, my feet were almost normal looking. Now, I must admit that being up since around a little bit before 1 o'clock in the morning, my feet are starting to, the water is going down because my feet are down. But when my feet were up, when I got up this morning, I thought, wow, look at that. I can see all 4 of my ankles. Now, it's a process. My healing is a process. Healing humanity is a process. Healing Mother Earth is a process. We didn't get where we've gotten to overnight all at once, and we're not going to change it to something better overnight all at once. We have to learn to trust the visionaries, especially the visionary within you. I don't mean you need to be trusting someone else as your visionary. I mean you need to awaken the visionary within you. You need to be learning, what is it that I can do to contribute to a better world? You be your visionary. You be the one for you. liberates your own soul, that liberates your own being, that makes you a contributor to the solution rather than someone who just simply maintains the status quo, which is the problem. We don't need the status quo maintained. We need it busted up in little pieces and totally reassembled into something that works, because the old system doesn't work at all. We need to let it go. Thank you for listening, and namaste.